The system has detected that the host is watching this video. Scanning the host's information. Love level has reached 99.99% and is usually quiet and reserved. Meets the system's requirements. Comment with 3 dog emojis to bind the God-tier superpower system. Embark on a legendary life journey. Ding, binding successful. When you finally come to your senses.
Bald, Mann.
The man wearing round glasses stepped onto the podium in Awakening Square. After delivering many inspiring slogans, he spoke loudly to the crowd below. I hereby announce the start of the Superpower Awakening ceremony. As his words fell, numerous teachers began preparing for the awakening ritual. One by one, inexperienced students stepped forward to awaken their powers. Naturally, you were among them, calmly observing everything around you, remaining as quiet and reserved as ever. Here, people are able to awaken supernatural abilities after completing their studies. Everyone has the potential to develop these special powers. Of course, there are also those chosen by fate, who can awaken their abilities without any external assistance. Naturally, such individuals are extremely rare. Before long, the teacher's voice came from the front. Zhu Xianglian B level. Fire-based ability. Zhang San C level. Perception ability. The level of supernatural ability determines what tier a person with supernatural powers can advance to as a user of such abilities. Suddenly, a gasp of surprise echoed through the crowd. An A-level ability user, Zhai Yutong, has astonishingly awakened a rare thunder element power. Hearing this, you turn your head to look and see a man with a cluster of silvery lightning flickering in his hand, his lips curling slightly into a faint smile, overflowing with pride. I wonder what level of supernatural ability I might awaken. Just as I was pondering, another exclamation rang out about an S-level ability. An S-level supernatural ability. Wang Ruxue has awakened an S-level ice-type ability. Hearing a familiar name, you still turned your head to glance over. Not far away stood a girl in a blue dress. Her sharp chin and delicate features made her quite striking. She was none other than Wang Ruxue, your classmate, despite awakening an S-level superpower. Her face didn't reveal much emotion. However, the people around her were in an uproar. Even the teacher was visibly surprised. After all, the most S-level superpowers ever seen at one time was 3, and sometimes there wasn't even 1. After a brief burst of excitement, the scene gradually returned to calm. At last, it's finally your turn. Then you walk up to the awakening instructor. You place your hand on the awakening stone. Closing your eyes, you carefully sense the call from deep within. As you step forward, many people turn their attention toward you, whispering among themselves in the crowd. The Su Yun's turn. No one knows what kind of ability he will awaken. After all, he's been the top scorer in every exam across the entire grade. So what if you always come in first place? There used to be people who got first in the entire grade too. Awakening a trashy D-level ability is all it takes. But you do have a point in class because you rarely interact with others, and you tend to keep to yourself. Some people think you look down on them. Ahead of you, your eyes are tightly shut as you focus intently. At that moment, a cold and mechanical voice echoed ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the God-tier ability system. Ding, the system has issued a reward. A beginner's reward. A free draw. With the words spoken, a spinning wheel appeared before them, divided into 10 sections, each with a different color. Each section displayed a type of superpower, but none indicated the power level. Fire element powers, enhanced cognitive abilities, lightning-based superpower. Staring at the system interface, you let out a faint smile. The golden finger you previously bound has arrived. Without any hesitation, you immediately start spinning the wheel, pressing the start button. The pointer on the wheel spins rapidly, finally coming to a stop in a specific section. Ding! Congratulations to the host for acquiring an SSS-level fire-based superpower. What happens when you see the system notification? Your brows furrow slightly. A hint of surprise flashes across your face. An SSS-level superpower. No matter what kind of ability is drawn, it will always become an SSS-level ability. Is this the legendary God-tier ability system? This is absolutely incredible. As the system's voice echoes, a number also appears on the awakening stone. An S-class superpower. Suyun has also awakened. An S-class superpower. How impressive. Who would have thought that this time in Jiangqing, there could actually be 2 S-class superpowers? For a moment, everyone was in an uproar again. At this moment, you opened your eyes once more, lowered your head to look at the awakening stone. Without saying another word, the awakening stone can only detect abilities up to an S-grade level. That's why your SSS grade ability was only displayed as S-grade. Student Zhu, what ability did you awaken? The awakening teacher asked with a smile. Another S-grade ability user has appeared in Jiangqing. This could truly be considered great news for Jiangqing. Hearing this, you activated your ability. A ball of intense flames burst forth in your hand. The fire ability caused flames to blaze fiercely in your palm. Its color was unlike that of ordinary flames. It appeared even redder and more strikingly vivid. The awakening instructor could almost feel the intense heat emanating from it. Secretly marveling, they thought it truly lived up to being an S-class fire ability. After finishing the recording, they turned and walked back. Along the way, people around cast envious glances in his direction. But you weren't paying attention to them at all. Your eyes were completely fixed on the virtual screen in front of you at this moment. Host Suyun, age 18, level LV1, Class G ability user. Experience, 1%. Physical constitution 120 compared to an average person's 100, mental strength 200 compared to an average person's 100, and points available. 0 abilities, a blood red and striking SSS level skill called Enchanting. Fireball at level 1 while points are used for the lottery. Currently, 1 draw requires 100 points. As the number of draws increases, the points required will also increase accordingly. For every 10 levels gained, an additional skill will be unlocked for the ability. But what caught you off guard was the SSS level fire ability actually had another name as well. The crimson hue is eerily captivating. It seems like a fitting name for your flame-based ability. Meanwhile, you are still engrossed in examining the system interface. Unbeknownst to you, many are watching you with predatory intent. The presence of someone with an S-rank ability inevitably draws a great deal of attention. You are well aware of the underlying implications. Hence, you chose not to reveal that you possess an SSS rank ability. Once everyone had completed their awakening, the principal stepped onto the stage again. The number of individuals who awakened their abilities and the results have been announced. This also serves as a motivation for all the students. Right now, you have just begun your awakening journey. However, your first test after awakening will take place in just 1 month. The test will determine which academy you will study at and how many cultivation resources you can obtain. I hope all of you take this seriously. Upon hearing this, they fell into deep thought. In their mind, a figure suddenly emerged. Is it an exam? Looks like I need to achieve a pretty good score. Otherwise, it won't even be enough to buy candy for Linger. Suddenly, a system notification sound rang out. Ding, mission triggered. Claim the top spot in the Academy's assessment. System reward, 50,000 experience points. 10,000 points added. SSS level superpower. A customizable growth type weapon added. Hearing the sound, your eyes lit up. You smiled faintly. Looks like I'll need to take first place again for this task. Of course, you are well aware. Getting first place is no easy feat, because you can only rely on yourself. After the principal finished speaking, he asked the students to return to their classrooms. Before long, the homeroom teacher, Mr. Liu, walked in, dressed in a shirt and suit pants, sporting a sleek, slicked-back hairstyle, with a face full of smiles. Classmates, you all did exceptionally well today, awakening unique abilities of your own, especially Su Yun and Wang Rushui. Both of them awakened S-level abilities. The rest of the class shouldn't feel disheartened. Regardless of the level or the type of ability, everyone can achieve what is within their capacity. And tomorrow, you will have the chance to train in the caves of Jiangqing. I hope all of you seize this opportunity well. It is Teacher Liu. Everyone responded in unison. After listening to his words, you lowered your head, lost in thought. The caves are channels through which creatures from other realms enter Blue Planet. Over 900 years ago, the cave emerged. All life on Blue Star descended into devastation. It wasn't until certain powerful ability users appeared that the creatures from the other world were driven back into the cave. From then on, the population on Blue Star sharply declined. The caves guarded by strong ability users also became places for novice ability users to undergo training and improve their skills. After the teacher went over a few more precautions, the class session came to an end. The bell rang, signaling the end of class. You headed straight out of the classroom, but just as you stepped outside the room, someone called out to you from behind. Suyun, stop right there. You saw Jia Yutong walking directly toward you. You asked what was going on. I didn't expect you to awaken an S-class ability. Join our Thunder Guild. We have the power to help you grow quickly. How Jia Yutong spoke, but his words and expressions carried a hint of disdain. You then inquire about the price to pay, to sign a contract, and become a member of the Thunder Guild. 40% of all future gains would go to the guild. Jia Yutong replied. Upon hearing this, you pause briefly in thought before firmly declining. Forget it, I'm not interested. At the start, the guild might indeed provide significant assistance, but the further it goes, the less help the union provides. Instead, it ends up draining members dry, making it not worth the cost. And he had known from the start that the Thunder Union's contract was essentially a servitude agreement. Who would have thought the treatment for S-class ability users would be no different? Suyun, what do you mean by this? Don't think you're all-powerful just because you awakened an S-class ability. Right now, you're merely gathering people with special abilities. Any random creature from another realm could easily take your life. Jia Yutong scolded furiously. He hadn't expected that someone would dare disrespect him. See you again. Not wanting to say more, he turned his head and walked away. For a moment, Jia Yutong was at a loss for words. His teeth clenched tightly in anger. Lightning flickered in his hand. The guy next to him quickly began to offer comfort. Before long, you arrived at the school gate. You approached the small stall selling candied hawthorns. The owner inside was skillfully manipulating objects from a distance, crafting various types of candied hawthorns. The owner handed over a skewer of candied hawthorns. Oh, it's little Sue. Still sticking with the usual, huh? The owner asked with a smile. Yes, you replied while speaking. You took out a card, swiped $2 new on the machine. You bought the cheapest candied hawthorn skewer. The whole skewer was made of hawthorns. All right, the owner acknowledged. Nian directed a finished candied hawthorn skewer to fly toward Suyun. Thank you, owner. You caught the candied hawthorn skewer and then headed home. The shop owner awakened an ability for mind control, but the level is quite low. It's only at level F, so he decided to do this job. Half an hour later, you arrive at a simple and modest-looking house. Pushing the door open, you step inside. As the door creaks open, a pleasant and melodious voice comes from within. Brother, you're back. A girl with twin ponytails appears. A little girl with a round face skipped along cheerfully. Linger gently patted her head with affection and handed her a freshly bought candied hawthorn stick. Here's the candied hawthorn I got for you. Thank you, big brother, Linger said, her eyes fixed on the treat. Her eyes sparkled with excitement, and she grinned happily. The girl in front of you is none other than your younger sister, Su Linger. After your parents passed away, the two of you rely on each other for survival. Since Linger is still very young, she hasn't started attending school yet. Fortunately, in the Xia Kingdom, education is completely free, and there are subsidies for families like yours living in poverty. Otherwise, it would truly be impossible to get by. At this moment, you are in the middle of cooking, while Su Linger suddenly hands you a skewer of candied hawthorn she has just peeled. You eat, I won't. I've already eaten. You shook your head, but you still need to eat. Su Linger pouted with a sulky expression. Hearing that, you finally took a bite of a candied hawthorn. The taste was truly sweet. Go ahead and eat, I still need to cook. All right, brother. When I have money someday. It also lets you enjoy sugar-coated haws every day. Suyun wore a bright smile on his face. After finishing the meal, it was already evening by then. You glanced at the system interface, then took another look at your wallet, and helplessly said there's no money to buy superpower equipment. Tomorrow's training might be a bit tricky. The next day, after cooking the meals, you headed straight to school. Today, they weren't gathering in the classroom. Instead, the students gathered in groups at the square. You stood in the line and took a glance around. The classmates nearby. Almost all of them were equipped with special ability weapons. Some were even wearing special ability armor. But you had absolutely nothing on you. All you could do was shake your head helplessly. The homeroom teacher Lu Longcheng scanned the crowd briefly. Everyone's here. Ha, then let's get going. We'll talk about everything else on the bus. So everyone followed Lu Longcheng onto a public bus. Apart from their class 5, there were also a few other classes joining them. On the bus, Lu Longcheng took a seat at the very front, speaking loudly. This time, we're heading to cave number 3 in Jiangqing. I'm sure everyone knows what kind of otherworldly creatures are there. They are skeleton creatures. They move at a slow pace. Their thinking is straightforward. They are well-suited for everyone's training experience. This training session is limited to 5 hours. The energy crystals obtained inside will belong entirely to you. Understood, teacher? Everyone responded in unison. Their faces showed a hint of excitement. After all, this was their first time killing a creature from another dimension. Psionic crystals are a type of crystal found in the brains of creatures from other worlds. They can be extracted and refined into liquid form by those with the ability to extract and process, which greatly benefits psionic practitioners in their training. People refer to it as psionic liquid. Lu Longcheng continued speaking. By the way, this training session will have rankings. The scores will be based on psionic crystals. The top 3 will receive rewards. What is the reward from Teacher Lu? Yeah, why are there even rewards for this training session? As soon as they heard about the reward, the students became thrilled. Lu Longcheng smiled gently. First place gets 3 bottles of energy-gathering liquid and a piece of energy-gathering gear or weapon. Second place gets 2 bottles of energy-gathering liquid and a piece of energy-gathering gear or weapon. Third place gets 1 bottle of energy-gathering liquid, an armor or weapon infused with special abilities. As soon as these words were spoken, the people in the vehicle grew even more excited. Upon hearing about the reward, you raised an eyebrow. There are both armor and weapons. Then it's best to aim for first place. Suddenly, the system's voice chimed in. A mission has been triggered. Claim the top spot in the trial. The system grants 100 points. Experience is increased by 100, and the ability to summon advanced energy weapons is activated. Are there any additional tasks? With these 100 points, I can try my luck at the lottery again. It seems like I have no choice but to aim for first place. Half an hour later, the group arrived at the cave. Everyone got out of the vehicle. In front of them stood a massive door made of 4 layers of alloy. The entire cave was enclosed by an energy shield. At the entrance, more than a dozen heavily armed guards were stationed. In class, the teacher once mentioned that the cave was essentially a gateway. Powerful superhumans drove out the weaker creatures from other dimensions and confined them in cages, trapping them outside the cave, providing an arena for lower-level superhumans to train and hone their skills. All right, classmates, let's move. Lu Longcheng led the students toward the gate, and they proceeded to walk past the gate. The guards stopped the teachers. The students stood in the back. After some negotiation between the teachers and the guards, they then walked up to them. Their expressions were serious. They reminded them that this training was solely up to them. The teachers would not be following them inside. If they encountered any danger, they should immediately trigger the emergency flare. Someone would come to rescue them. Of course, if you're scared, you can leave now. No one will say anything about it. Teacher, we are not afraid. Yes, we are absolutely not afraid. My great-great-great-grandfather was a member of the defense forces back in the day. In Xia country, there aren't many people who are delicate and sheltered. From a young age, we were taught that it was our ancestors who shed their blood and sacrificed their lives. That made it possible for us to have the relative peace we enjoy today. All right, all of you are truly admirable. Lu Longcheng displayed a satisfied smile. Here, the teacher wishes you great success in martial arts. With a single command, everyone entered the gate one after another. You followed and stepped inside. Lu Longcheng suddenly called out to him from behind. Suyun, Did you forget to bring your weapon? No, you turned your head and gave a helpless smile. A weapon that harnesses special abilities costs 20 pieces of energy-gathering crystals. How could you possibly afford to buy it? At that moment, Lu Longcheng took the long blade from his waist. He tossed it over. This is a weapon the teacher used in the past. Take it and use it. You took the weapon. Looking down, you noticed it was a forged Tang Dao, and it happened to be the weapon you excelled at using the most. After a moment of contemplation, you sincerely expressed your gratitude to Lu Longcheng. Thank you, Mr. Lu. Mr. Lu is not someone who gathers supernatural abilities. He doesn't carry weapons that harness supernatural powers. It seems this Tang sword was deliberately brought for you. Considering your situation, as the homeroom teacher, he is fully aware of everything about you. Go on inside. Lu Longcheng waved his hand as he spoke. With those words said, you turned around and walked away. Watching the students' departing figures, Lu Longcheng's expression was filled with complexity. There was both worry and excitement in his eyes. I hope all of you can return safely. Meanwhile, on the other side, you stepped through the gates. What came into view was a lush, green forest. The forest was interwoven with patches of mist. The visibility was roughly around 50 meters. Before long, the classmates around started forming teams, getting ready to enter together, to hunt creatures from another realm. You glanced around the area, intending to head in a direction where fewer people were going, but noticed a classmate walking toward you. The person was Jiang Zixuan, a follower of Zhai Yutong. With an unreserved attitude, Su Yun, Zhai invited you to join our team. You wave your hand dismissively, showing no interest. You turn around and walk away without hesitation. You don't have a particularly good impression of Zhai Yutong. To claim the first place, you have to strive for it on your own. To secure the top spot, you must act independently. Yang Zixuan was so angry that she couldn't find the words to respond. After returning to Zhai Yutong's side, she immediately started complaining. Brother Zhai, that Suyun kid looks down on you. Humph, does he think awakening an S-class ability makes him special? Without the support of a powerful organization like our Thunder Guild, he's nothing. Let's see how you handle this. Fixing his gaze on Su Yun's retreating figure, Zhai Yutong gritted his teeth as he spoke. Before long, you stepped into the dense forest, pulled out the Tang Dao, cautiously keeping an eye on your surroundings, listening carefully to the sounds around you. The creatures of this other world are skeletal beings. They tend to hide in the mist and launch surprise attacks, so you must remain extra vigilant. Suddenly, a series of clicking sounds came from behind you. You immediately turned around, only to see a human skeleton charging toward you. It was holding a bone knife in its hand. The sound of clicking accompanied its sprint. The skeleton was emitting a series of sharp clattering noises. In an instant, the system interface displayed its information. Character: Skeleton Monster. Level: LV2. Species: Skeletal Creature. Fortunately, the visibility was sufficient. Otherwise, it would have been easy to be ambushed by the skeleton monster. Your gaze sharpened. With your right hand gripping the blade, you infused it with a surge of supernatural energy. In an instant, the fire-based energy engulfed the weapon. The entire Tang blade transformed into a fiery edge, tainted with a blood-red, eerie glow. Using abilities consumes a significant amount of energy, which is why most ability users initially opt to rely on their energy-based weapons. Once the energy fills the Tang sword, you grip the Tang sword tightly and charge forward, completely unafraid. The skeleton monster saw Su Yun charging forward, swung its blade in an attempt to strike. But with a swift sidestep, you effortlessly dodged it, drew your blade and slashed at the joint of the skeleton monster's right arm. A crisp clink echoed. With the blood-red, sinister Tang blade in hand, you easily severed the skeleton monster's arm. Its bones and skeletal arm fell to the ground. Beyond that, the crimson hue, eerily vivid, clung to the wounds of the skeletal creature. It seemed to be inflicting continuous damage on the skeletal creature. The skeletal creature appeared to be in immense pain. It let out a furious roar directed at you. It charged recklessly toward you in a blind rush. Courting death, you raised an eyebrow in defiance. With a swift slide, You struck at the joint connecting the skeletal creature's leg bones. A sharp, crisp sound echoed. The skeletal creature's legs were severed cleanly, collapsed helplessly onto the ground, only able to move using the one remaining arm. Even so, he kept crawling toward your position. Without hesitation, you stepped forward and plunged a knife into the skeleton monster's head, completely ending its life. Ding! Congratulations to the host for slaying the skeleton monster. LV2 system rewards 40 experience points and 10 additional points. Skeleton monster shocking world LV2 increased by 1. After dealing with the skeletal creature, you quickly left the spot, glanced at the system's earlier message, and smiled with satisfaction. Who would have thought that defeating a level 1 creature would grant experience points and rewards from the system? It seems that during these 5 hours, I need to take down more of these skeletal creatures here, and these low-level skeletal creatures are among the otherworldly beings. It can be classified as a type that is relatively easy to defeat. Immediately after that, you begin searching the dense forest for skeleton creatures to hunt. Skeletons come in all sorts of strange and varied forms. According to what the book describes, they originate from various creatures undergoing transformation. In other words, any otherworldly creature could potentially turn into a skeleton. Afterward, you also manage to eliminate quite a number of skeleton creatures on the outskirts. Focusing attacks on the joints of the skeleton's bones makes it easier to break them apart. This approach allows you to scatter them more effectively. If you directly target the bones themselves, it will consume more of your supernatural energy. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the skeleton monster. Level 2 system rewards. Experience points increased by 40. Points increased by 10. Skeleton monster of level 2 upgraded by 1 level. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the skeleton monster. LV3 system rewards 60 experience points. 20 points added. Skeleton monster shockingly upgraded to LV3. Congratulations to the host. Level up with a flash of golden light. Upgrade successful. All fatigue swept away. Even the strange energy within the body has been completely restored. Feeling the changes in your body, you can't help but marvel once again at the immense power of the divine ability system. You immediately began examining your system panel.
Host, Suyun.
Age, 18. Level, LV2. Experience, 30/200. Willpower, 180. Mental strength, 270. Points, 60. Ability, Blood Red Enchantment, Blood Red Charm. SS Skill, Enchanting Fireball LV1. Awaiting further upgrades. You then ventured a little deeper into the dense forest. Of course, the deeper you go, the skeleton creature's levels would increase, and the visibility would decrease. The greater the danger becomes. A moment later, a level 3 skeletal monster appeared ahead. It seemed to be the skeleton of a wolf-like creature. Its hollow eyes glowed with a dim red light. It opened its skeletal jaw wide and let out an enraged roar toward you. This is a good chance to test your skills. You responded with a faint smile and instantly made your move. The crimson glow spread instantly, exuding a sinister beauty. The energy weapon was aimed directly at the skeletal beast ahead. Meanwhile, the skeletal beast lashed out with all 4 limbs. Its speed was astonishingly fast. It moved noticeably quicker than humanoid skeletal creatures. But you were already aware that beast-type skeletons are known for their speed. Without hesitation, you swung your blade down. A flash of fire streaked as the blade struck. It landed squarely at the skeletal beast's ankle with a loud thud. A single strike brought the sword down. The front limb of the skeleton monster was severed, fell to the ground. The skeleton monster's body lost its balance. It stumbled and collapsed to the ground. After rolling several times, it finally came to a halt. The reinforced skeleton's bones had been strengthened. The original weaknesses of the tofu demon had also disappeared. Therefore, the best approach was still to attack its feet first. But how could you possibly let it escape so easily? You had already charged towards the skeleton monster in that direction. The skeleton monster let out a furious roar. It struck out with a palm, but it hit nothing but air. failing to land a blow on you, because the direction you wanted to attack was actually behind the skeleton monster. With one swift strike of your sword, bang, a burst of sparks erupted. Both of the skeleton monster's hind legs were severed, leaving it with no way to retreat. Became your captive. What followed was a brutal and one-sided massacre. Ding, congratulations to the host. For slaying skeleton monster LV3. System rewards. Experience plus 30. Points plus 20. Skeleton monster crystal LV3 plus 1. Skeleton boots LV3 plus 1. Equipment dropped. You were momentarily stunned. Didn't expect killing creatures from another world would drop equipment. Does that mean you'll never have to spend money on gear again? The gear that drops is basically good enough, so you immediately pulled out the skeleton boots from your storage bag. The bone-white boots even came with a human skull attached. The eyes of the skull emitted a faint red glow. Skeleton boots LV3, energy-enhancing equipment. When infused with energy, they can increase speed. After taking a glance at them, you immediately equipped the bone boots. Fortunately, this gear has the ability to turn invisible. No one else can see what you're wearing. They can only see the plain shoes you had on originally. You put on the skeleton boots to continue hunting down the skeleton monsters. Time kept ticking by, second after second. 4.5 hours later, you had taken down a good number of skeleton monsters. Though no new gear dropped this time, at least you managed to level up 2 more times. You have accumulated enough points to draw again. However, during this period, you did hear quite a few sounds of signal flares. It seems someone might have encountered danger. Choosing to give up, after a moment of thought, you decide to take another chance at the lottery. There's no such thing as too many abilities, especially when it's an SSS level ability. Ding, will you consume 100 points to draw? Yes. After making your choice, simply click to start. The colorful wheel begins spinning at the same moment. It takes half a minute before it gradually comes to a stop. Between divine level thinking and sacred healing, the two abilities hover indecisively. You keep your eyes fixed on the wheel. Your lips continuously murmur healing. Healing. Divine healing clearly belongs to the category of supportive healing abilities. With it, one person alone can function as an entire team. But in the end, the pointer on the wheel unexpectedly stopped in the area marked as God-level thinking. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining SSS-level God-level thinking. You felt a bit disappointed, but you still opened the system to take a look at the newly acquired skill. Skill, Enchanting Fireball. Level 1 Split Thinking. Level 1 Split Thinking is equivalent to multitasking. Each hand can activate a different skill. Of course, this is only true when the level is relatively low. The higher the level, the more varied skills can be activated. This is the true power of divided thinking. Not only that, the newly acquired ability has significantly increased your mental capacity and familiarity. Additionally, your mind feels much clearer. It truly lives up to being an SSS grade ability. You glanced down at the time. There was roughly half an hour left before you had to leave. Otherwise, the 5-hour limit would pass. Since the teacher mentioned that you must leave within 5 hours, there must be a reason behind it, so you decided not to linger any longer. You started walking toward the entrance. Just as you turned around, you suddenly felt a faint chill coming from behind. Instinctively, you turned your head to take a look. A massive figure came into view. A towering humanoid skeleton nearly over 2 meters tall was charging straight toward you, clutching a hefty ancient-looking club in its hand. The speed was astonishing. You had no time to dodge, and could only raise your blade to block it. A dull thud echoed out. The bone club smashed against your tang blade. A powerful force surged toward you. His strength alone was completely insufficient to block it. He could only let the bone club smash against his chest, striking directly at your chest. The force was like a massive hammer weighing 1,000 pounds. Your entire body was sent flying backward instantly. Upon seeing this, Su-Yun immediately drove his blade into the ground, planting his feet firmly on the ground, using this method to absorb the force, retreating nearly 10 meters back, before finally managing to come to a halt. Blood was already dripping from the corner of your mouth. You lifted your head to look up. Only then could you clearly see the information about the opponent. Character: Orc skeleton. Species: skeleton creature. Level: LV8. What? An 8th level skeleton monster? How could it possibly appear here? You were instantly struck with shock and fear. According to the rules of the cave, the area closest to the cave should only have around level 10 creatures at most. And yet, the location you're in is still just the middle section. Typically, only skeleton monsters around level 5 appear. How could a level 8 skeleton monster show up? While you're hesitating, that orc skeleton is roaring as it charges straight at you. Your expression shifts slightly. You glance at the flare in your arms. If you ignite it now, someone will arrive to save you quickly. But facing a level 8 orc skeleton, you still want to give it a shot. Damn it, I refuse to believe I can't take you down. Seeing the orc skeleton rushing forward, you no longer block with your blade. Instead, you focus with unwavering concentration, activating your god-tier psychic ability. In an instant, your mind becomes significantly clearer. It seems as if even the speed of the orc skeleton on the other side has slowed considerably. This is the unparalleled strength of an SSS-level ability. With a swift sidestep, you evade the orc skeleton's attack. The right hand unleashed a blood-red brilliance that enveloped the blade. The blade slashed at the joint of the orc skeleton's arm bone. A crisp sound rang out. The arm bone merely loosened slightly. It did not inflict any substantial damage to the orc skeleton. On the contrary, it ended up angering the orc skeleton. The skeleton swung its weapon back with great force and struck downward. With a loud bang, the ground was smashed into a large pit by the orc skeleton. Dust was swirling everywhere. Not far away, you were gasping heavily for air. Your eyes were fixed on the massive crater on the ground, feeling secretly relieved. Thankfully, I managed to dodge in time. Otherwise, I would have been crushed, turned into a bloody mess, barely escaping due to quick reflexes. It was all thanks to the godlike power of strategic thinking. But facing the orc skeletons, you cannot afford to make a single mistake. After a brief moment, the orc skeleton roared again and charged at you with ferocity, as if it intended to smash you into a pulp. Realizing the situation, you knew you could no longer hold back. Your gaze shifted to the flames in your left hand. You calmly uttered, "It's up to you now." The dazzling fireball. The fire lizard began to gather continuously in your left hand, forming a fireball the size of a basketball. The vivid flames kept blazing intensely. The air around seemed to become restless. The orc skeleton was about to charge forward. With a wave of your left hand, you unleashed a fiery, dazzling fireball. Whoosh, the fireball moved at an incredible speed, leaving a streak of red light across the sky. In the blink of an eye, it struck the orc skeleton. The orc skeleton didn't even have time to dodge. It was forced to take the full brunt of the attack.
Boum, a loud explosion échoède.
The fireball exploded, unleashing scorching flames that engulfed the orc skeleton completely, even generating a wave of heat, which swept outward in all directions. You, standing nearby, felt the rush of heat. A look of astonishment appeared on your face. Is this a skill I just unleashed? This is unbelievably powerful. Have you ever seen anyone use fire-based abilities like this, harnessing supernatural abilities? Yet none of them are this powerful. A single accumulation of skills can already rival the Crimson Force. The dazzling brilliance continues to scorch the orc skeleton. The orc skeleton trapped inside lets out anguished howls. It keeps struggling incessantly. But no matter how much it struggles, the flames cling to its body as if they are fused with it. They simply cannot be extinguished. After a furious roar, the orc skeleton raised its bone club high into the air and charged furiously in your direction. Courting death, are you? A cold glint flashed in your eyes. Power gathered in your left hand, and another fireball was launched. The fireball exploded, and the orc skeleton was sent flying by the immense impact, landing heavily on the ground. At the same time, you charge toward the location of the orc skeleton. With a knife in your right hand, you advance forward. You swing the blade directly at the orc skeleton, targeting the connection between its skull and neck. Clang, the blade strikes with precision. Although the orc skeleton's skull wasn't severed, it still managed to shake slightly from the impact. Seeing this, you swiftly evade the orc skeleton's counterattack. Then launch another strike without hesitation. Clang, clang, the strikes come one after another. You can't afford to let your guard down even for a moment. Noticing signs that the orc skeleton is about to resist, you hurl a dazzling fireball straight at it, creating some distance between the two of you. Given the current state of your physical body, you can't withstand the orc skeleton's attacks for now. All you can do is evade them. In no time, the orc skeleton's head is left hanging loosely to one side after being struck. It looks as though it might fall off at any moment. At this moment, you focus intently, channeling your energy into the bone boots beneath your feet. Your speed increases dramatically in an instant. In the blink of an eye, you appear behind the orc skeleton. With a single slash, you aim for the orc skeleton's neck. A flash of fire bursts forth. The orc skeleton's skull detaches from its body and crashes to the ground. After rolling a few times, it comes to rest at your feet. At that moment, the system notification chimes. Ding, congratulations to the host. Defeated orc skeleton LV8. System rewards 800 experience points. Gained 200 points. Obtained 1 orc skeleton ability crystal LV8. Received 1 bone armor LV8. Ding, congratulations to the host. Level increased by 1. Killing a higher level monster boosted you directly by 1 level. Also dropped a piece of armor. A flash of golden light. All the negative states in your body were expelled. Your supernatural energy was also restored. The battle just now unfolded this way. You nearly drained all of your supernatural energy. The dazzling fireball was indeed powerful, but it also consumed a significant amount of supernatural energy. Looking at the orc skeleton's corpse, you revealed a satisfied smile. Wielding a big club seemed impressive, but I still ended up taking it down, though you say so out loud. Deep down you still realize this time was somewhat reckless. After catching your breath for a moment, you head toward the entrance. It's time to leave now, but just as you're about to step away, the sound of skeletons suddenly echoes around you. Bones clattering against each other. Your brows immediately furrow, and you swiftly equip the bone armor from your storage space, keeping a close watch on the surroundings. Judging from the sound, there's more than one skeleton creature around, at least dozens of them. Soon, skeleton creatures began to appear one after another, gradually emerging from the mist. Some were humanoid, some resembled animals. There was even the orc skeleton you just defeated, around 15 of them in total. Moreover, each one is at least level 6. The highest one even reaches level 10. What's going on here? How could such high-level skeleton creatures appear? Is this meant to be the end of me? Your face darkened. Your grip on the Tang sword tightened further. No matter how strong they are, they still can't match up to so many skeleton creatures. No, I can't die here. You gritted your teeth. Without any hesitation, you pulled the signal flare from your waist and ignited it, then turned around and bolted, seeing their prey escaping. A group of skeletal creatures all chased after you. At the same time, not far away, 2 individuals dressed in red armor were heading in the direction where your signal flare was released. Go that way, a student is in danger. Well, I have no idea what's going on. Why are there so many high-level skeletons around today? At this moment, you are still sprinting wildly. Many of the slower skeletons have already been left behind by you, but the ones remaining are all incredibly fast. In particular, there's a beast-like skeleton relentlessly chasing after you. Judging by the shape of its bones, it seems to be some kind of large feline creature. Not only is it fast, the level is quite high. You quickly check his information. Character: Beast Skeleton. Level: LV9. Species: Skeleton. Skill: Sudden Strike. The thin skeleton let out a roar. Its limbs suddenly exerted force, digging small pits into the ground. It leaped into the air and lunged at you. Oh no, seeing this situation, your expression changed instantly. You are fully aware. Once the thin skeleton behind you latches onto you, you will inevitably be caught by the other skeletons, and at that point, death is certain. You inwardly cursed under your breath. Your left hand began gathering a sinister crimson glow, preparing to unleash a dazzling fireball. You absolutely cannot afford to be caught by it. Just as you were about to activate the skill, a sudden roar erupted from behind you. Step aside, young man. You turn your head to look, only to see that, at some unnoticed moment, two men dressed in red armor had appeared behind you. Seeing their red armor, you immediately recognize them as members of the Qian army of the Xia Kingdom. They are likely the ones responsible for managing storage cave number 3. Alright, you nod in acknowledgement. Then, you channel your special energy into the bone boots. In an instant, you unleash a burst of power to distance yourself from the skeleton behind you. At the same time, someone behind had already gathered their unique ability in their hand and unleashed it onto the skeletal creatures beneath them. Another person released a powerful blade of wind, which swept through like a life-reaping green scythe. Everything in its path was sliced cleanly in half. With just a single move, all the skeletal creatures on the ground were annihilated, reduced to scattered bones littering the earth. Impressive, you couldn't help but think to yourself, looking up at the two people across from you. Character Zhu Kaifeng, level unknown, species unknown, human skills undisclosed. Character Fang Wenbin, level unknown, species unknown, human skills undisclosed. The level difference is too significant. The information displayed by the system is unclear. You know the person who unleashed the wind blade is named Zhu Kaifeng. The other man with a square-shaped face is named Fang Wenbin. Both of them quickly approach you. A concerned inquiry. Are you all right? I'm fine. Thank you for saving me. You expressed your gratitude sincerely. You're a newcomer here for training, aren't you? How did you end up this deep inside? Fang Wenbin asked in confusion. You glanced at the white bones on the ground. Smiling, you explained, weren't they the ones chasing me? Haha, that's true. After a moment of contemplation, Fang Wenbin turned his gaze to Zhu Kaifeng, instructing him to escort the person out. He said he would go check the cave entrance. Alright, be careful out there. After I send him out, I'll come find you immediately. As soon as he finished speaking, Fang Wenbin swiftly ran into the depths of the dense forest. In the blink of an eye, he vanished from your sight. Suddenly, Zhu Kaifeng spoke up. Hey, the young fellow had already left, but you hadn't even had time to react when Zhu Kaifeng seized you and took you away, just like a hawk carrying off a chick, darting swiftly through the forest. The power of the wind element gathered beneath Zhu Kaifeng's feet, continuously boosting his speed. Big bro, slow down a bit. All the while, near the entrance of the cavern, a large number of people have already emerged from the cave. Everyone is reporting the energy crystals to the teacher and calculating their scores. Zhang San scored 80 points. Zhai Yutong scored 250 points, with another scoring 70 points. As these words were spoken, everyone present turned toward the direction where the sound came from and looked over. Scoring 250 points likely involved taking down at least a dozen skeletons. Truly worthy of being a lightning-based superpower. Deals increased damage to skeletal creatures. Impressive. Looks like the first place this time belongs to Zhai Yutong. Yeah, impressive indeed. But isn't Su Yun an S rank? He might even score higher than Zhai Yutong. Hearing this, Zhai Yutong's expression immediately turned displeased. He shot a glare at the person who spoke. Terrified, that person quickly covered their mouth and didn't dare utter another word. Standing nearby, Jiang Zixuan, one of his lackeys, sneered sarcastically. What use is someone like Su Yun, even if he's an S level? Right now, he's nowhere to be seen. He's probably already perished in there. Exactly. The 5-hour time limit seems to be almost over. For all we know, he might have already been gnawed into a skeleton by now. Ha ha ha. The other lackeys chimed in with laughter. At that moment, Lu Longqing also noticed that Su Yun was still nowhere in sight. So he loudly asked, has anyone seen Su Yun? Do you know where he is? Su Yun is an S-level ability user. Just like that, he ended up dead here. The school will definitely hold him accountable. But as long as the flare is fired, someone is sure to arrive quickly. Didn't you see him act alone as soon as he went in? Everyone exchanged puzzled glances. They started talking all at once. In an instant, Lu Longqing's eyebrows twitched. No, I have to go in and take a look. Just as I turned around, your voice suddenly came from behind. Mr. Lu, I'm back. You waved towards Lu Longcheng to signal him. You were also just brought to the entrance by Zhu Kaifeng. Your whole body was already in a completely disheveled state. Your hair was messy and tangled. You looked like a beggar. But none of this was caused by the skeleton attacking you. It was the wind on the road that blew it. It was struck by tree branches. It's good that you're back. It's good to see you home. Lu Longcheng nodded slightly. Only then did he feel relieved. You quickly ran to Lu Longcheng's side. You asked Mr. Lu, "What is the score of the first place now?" 250. Lu Longcheng hadn't finished speaking yet. Zhai Yutong interrupted abruptly. He sternly said, "How could you? Do you really think you alone can surpass my score? You might as well give up." Brother Zhai scored 250 points. He alone managed to earn 250 points. Several of his followers chimed in agreement. You gave a faint smile. "How about we make a bet? If I surpass you and take first place, then how about giving me your reward? What if you end up losing?" Zhai Yutong countered. "Nothing good ever comes from this." He wouldn't place a bet. "If I lose, I'll join your Thunder Guild." You said this with a blank expression. Su Yun heard these words. Lu Cheng immediately spoke up to persuade. "Why would you want to join the Thunder Guild? Wait until the assessment in a month. All the academies and guilds will come by. Why bother joining the Thunder Guild? It's nothing, Mr. Lu." You waved your hand casually, with a calm and indifferent expression. "All right, this is great." Zhai Yutong, on the other hand, looked completely smug, and urged impatiently, "Hurry up and take out the ability crystal you defeated. Let me see how many points you can score." You chuckled silently without saying a word, taking your time without any rush. You reached into the small pocket you always carry with you. Of course, there was actually nothing inside. All the ability crystals were stored in the system's inventory space. You reached inside, just to put on a show. One piece, then another piece, and a third piece as you took them out one by one. Lu Rongqing also began using the equipment to record scores. 10 points, 20 points, 30 points. Everyone else was focused on observing what was happening with Su Yun, engaged in heated discussions. Who would have thought that Su Yun could also collect so many ability crystals? It must be around 200 points by now. After all, it's an S-level ability. But what Long Cheng held in his hand was the effort of several people. It was still far too reckless. After a moment, your hand came to a stop. "Master Wendao, how many points is it?" 210 points. "Do you have any more?" Lu Longcheng cautiously asked. Before you could even speak, Zhai Yutong had already started mocking. "Give it up, Su Yun. There's no way you can surpass me. Why not just join our Thunder Guild willingly?" Ha ha ha, but honestly, he couldn't care less about him. Once again, he reached into the bag. "I still have one last one left. And what if there's one more? Can it even reach 40 points? Zhai Yutong kept making sarcastic remarks. "Until you take out one." 2 small energy crystals, each about the size of a fingernail, were taken out. He accepted the crystals. Lu Longcheng paused for a moment in surprise. A crystal of this size. The level of the creature from the strange world is probably close to F level. After testing, he announced the score. 80 points out of a total of 290 points. The first place goes to Su Yun. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's faces showed expressions of surprise. 80 points, an energy crystal with a score of 80. A faint smile appeared on your face, because the system just notified you that the task was completed. Ding! Task completed. System rewards 100 points. Experience increased by 100. A weapon that channels energy. Even so, Zhai Yutong still refused to believe it. He shouted angrily that it was fake. It must be fake. This ability crystal is definitely something Su Yun purchased a long time ago. Zhai Yutong, is this an ability crystal from a skeleton? Do you think I can't tell? Are you questioning my professional ethics as a teacher? Lu Rongqing furrowed his brows. His tone carried a hint of reprimand. Dared not respond. Zhai Yutong immediately lowered his head. "Don't think I don't know what kind of tricks you're up to. I am fully aware. Just couldn't be bothered to say it." Lu Rongqing let out a cold snort and said, he had figured it out a long time ago. The ability crystal of Zhai Yutong was obtained after his sidekick helped take down the target. Yet his own group hadn't turned in a single ability crystal. Jia Yutong's face darkened. He stopped speaking altogether. At that moment, you suddenly spoke up. Jia Yutong, you lost, so the second place reward belongs to me now. Jia Yutong, whose face darkened, was left speechless. When had he ever felt this stifled before? All right, everyone get on the bus. Make sure to rest well when you get back. The rewards for the top 3 will be distributed later by the school. Lu Longcheng urged everyone. The group quickly boarded the bus. It had been an exhausting morning. Finally got a chance to rest. You deliberately stayed until the end. Return the Tang sword to Lu Longcheng. Mr. Lu, here's your sword back. You can keep it. Consider it your reward for earning first place. Lu Longcheng pushed the sword back again. Thank you, Mr. Lu. With that, the two got in the car and headed back to the school. On the way back, you can still hear the classmates talking. It's about Wang Rushue. Why hasn't anyone seen Wang Rushue around? I heard she went to another place for training. That place is far more dangerous than cave number 3. Half an hour later, everyone returned to school. Those who had nothing else to do went home first. The ones left behind were there to receive rewards. In Class 5, you were the only one who got a reward. Moreover, the reward that originally belonged to the second-place winner, Jia Yutong, has now ended up in your hands. These rewards for Su Yun are for the rankings in the training session. Lu Longqing dumped everything onto your desk all at once. Thank you, teacher. You express your gratitude first, then shift your attention to the rewards on the desk. 5 bottles of ability-enhancing liquid, a pair of energy-concentrating leg guards, which were originally part of the armor set. Su Yun told Lu Longqing that he replaced it with leg guards. You already have armor. Getting another one would just be a waste. Lu Longqing reminded him. With this ability-enhancing liquid, you need to train diligently. When the assessment comes, make sure to perform well. Oh, by the way, you've awakened an S-level reward. There's also an additional reward. You can visit any cave in Jiangqing for free. Go on an adventure once. Just provide proof from our school. Alright, you're a bit surprised, but also somewhat pleased. At least there's another place to level up. Otherwise, you'd have to head outside the city. The areas outside the city are much more dangerous than inside. You pack up your belongings carefully. Get up and prepare to leave. Mr. Lu, I'll head out now, take care. Be careful on the road. Watching Su Yun's figure as he walked away, Lu Longqing slightly parted his lips. He seemed to have something he wanted to say, but in the end, he couldn't bring himself to speak. After leaving the school, you stored everything into the system backpack and checked the item properties in the system. A moment ago, you were rewarded with a long spear, along with the school's rewards. Red tassel spear LV-10, a weapon infused with supernatural powers. Channeling supernatural energy can enhance attack power. Beast-hide leg guards, LV-6 defensive gear infused with supernatural energy. Channeling supernatural energy can block a portion of damage. Supernatural energy potion, an experience-enhancing elixir, increases experience by 10 points upon consumption. Only 10 points increase when I slay a supernatural creature from another realm. It also grants an increase of 10 experience points. But this single bottle of concentrated ability liquid requires at least 7 or 8 ability crystals to refine. You think to yourself, but you also understand the reason behind it. At this stage, the technology for extracting ability liquid is still underdeveloped. Manually extracted ability liquid is just like this, though it's still better than having none at all. 5 bottles equal 50 experience points. You take advantage of the moment when no one is watching and grab the 5 bottles of ability liquid. It went down just like drinking a beverage. Ding, experience increased by 10. Ding, experience gained 1050 points, but it's far from enough for you to level up. You then open the attribute panel once more. Deep in thought. Host, Su Yun, age 18. Level, LV5. Experience, 160/1200. Constitution, 500. Spirit, 750. Points, 530. Ability, Blood Red Enchantment SSS. God Level Thinking SSS. Skill, Enchanting Fireball. Level 1 Divided Thinking Level 1. It's only level 5 right now. In a month's assessment, it needs to be upgraded to at least level 10. Now the lottery requires 1,000 points. 500 points are far from enough. Since awakening the ability, many people have chosen to join major forces, and those with skills or talents are the ones in powerful organizations or individuals with influential backgrounds. There is an endless supply of supernatural energy. Leveling up becomes an effortless task. But you are different. You don't have any connections or background. You can only rely on yourself, and you don't want to give up your freedom. Of course, you still have another option. That option is to join the academy. The academy is established by the nation. It was founded to serve a larger purpose, to provide newly trained ability users a place for learning, gaining experience and conducting exchanges, as well as practicing their skills. There are a total of 4 major academies across the country, namely Vermilion Bird Academy and Black Tortoise Academy, Azure Dragon Academy and White Tiger Academy. It is said that they are inspired by mythical legends from thousands of years ago in the Summer Kingdom. Those who wish to enter the main campus of the 4 academies must possess not only talent, it must also be someone with great perseverance. Based on your current level, you can only enter the branch institute. Only by cultivating well enough can you receive better treatment, but that's something to talk about later. For now, focusing on cultivation is the most important. Soon after, you returned home, handing the 2 skewers of candied fruit you bought on the way to Lingling. For your brother, I made money today. I even bought some meat. Today we are having meat. Yay, meat for dinner. Eating meat. The anxious Linger stuffed the candied hawthorn into her mouth and cheered excitedly. Slow down and eat, your face is all smiles. Reminded with a chuckle. Linger simply grinned sheepishly, gazing at his smile. Something suddenly comes to your mind. Linger is now 7 years old. It might be possible to give it a try before the age of 10.